Hello to everyone. Hope I am meeting everyone in great spirits. It is dawn Central Time. I'm also dawn East Coast. And this video is going to be about Rashida Tlaib. I'm only doing this because she is pro-Palestinian, and she just happens to be a Palestinian. All right, and before I really get into her matter, I'll just basically point out what we have here in front of us. Here, obviously, large population of Europas, Europeans, large population of Europeans, large population of Europeans, large population of Europeans, a stronghold for blacks, whatever they call themselves. A lot of Arabs here, Europeans, blacks, Europeans, 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 blacks, Europeans, Europeans, Arabs, Europeans. So you can pretty much see here that Detroit is not very much of a black city. It's not so in population and also not so in belief. In visiting Detroit, like you will see a lot of interracial coupling. You will see black women who have half Arab children, Iraqi, Yemeni, Chaldean, so forth. It's not much of a pro-black city, for my gatherings. So you can see like right here in this shaded area, outlined, carved up redistrict. This is Rashida Tlaib's constituency. So when you go from here, across here, up to right here, all of that is like black people, and they're pretty much impoverished. They don't have the resources that the people here have, and the people here have, and the people here have, and the people here have. As you can see, like this area on up, and this area across on up to Southfield, it's pretty much a blank slate. That will be what you would call Detroit. And obviously, this is what she's done so far since she's been appointed for that position. All right. I'm not going to talk about the bills she introduced because right here, as you can see, it's loading. All of this right here, and I'll just scroll down. None of this is dealing with repairment from the Holocaust black people have suffered. All of this is just string-alongs, basically to keep the people distracted and busy. All right, so here she sponsors something about Lebanon. She's sponsoring something about boosting, an acronym. So that's a program. So she's not dealing with anything of substance. And so right here, she's dealing with impaired credit. Like, what does any of this have to do with resettling people in lands, and basically making sure that those people who suffered that Holocaust, making sure that they don't suffer any injustices again. Like, none of this is dealing with restitution. All right, so she's basically sponsoring this, expressing support for the recognition of April as Arab American Heritage Month and celebrating the heritage and culture of Arab Americans in the United States. So basically, she's injecting her politics into a government that, as you can see here, 1789, 1791, First Congress, under George Washington, military officer, statesman, two parties, anti-administration, pro-administration. She's not dealing with any of this history. And all of this right here, 26 total, 8 of men, 18 of men, 65 total, 28 of men, 37 of men. All of this is the history leading up to what was happening before 1789 with the wars, to see who will have the manumission of free labor. All of this right here is just black people disagreeing with each other. Black people disagreeing with each other. Of course, they won't call black people back then, but she's not dealing with any of that right there. And this history goes back. When you talk about the all spiritual jurisdiction united to the crown, Act of Supremacy 1558, this is black people history. All right, she's not dealing with any of these matters, and she knows this stuff. And like the people in Detroit, they are suffering. Like, you go to Detroit, you will see people walking around lost out of their mind. You will see people talking to themselves. All right, that's Detroit. And like right here, all right, I'm going to go back. Let's unmark that. All right. So far since she's been in service to her constituency, these are the only two sponsored bills she's been able to get passed. Renaming the building after Rosa Parks, not Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks. And this right here below, a Representative Payee Fraud Prevention Act of 2019. Now, this is just something that, if you were to use it for anything that you would sense that would help you, as far as the wordage and the using of the words, like just reading the bill, right, you would see that it wouldn't be able to help you. It wouldn't be able to help you at all. Because there will be a point in line where the people who you are trying to get help from, or basically excuse yourself, they will make sure that you wouldn't be able to get the remedy that you are seeking. So again, this is about a representative payee fraud. All right, so a representative payee, I'm not sure what that is about, but we can kind of go through this and see. So we can see a penalty is provisioned. So they don't want you to be free. Okay, it says here at F, the office may not authorize a person to receive payments on behalf of a minor or individual of legal disability on the subsection E if that person has been convicted of a violation. So it's very provision as far as what a person can do and what a person can't do. All right. It has a many of subsections, and it's dealing with the Social Security. So if it's dealing with the Social Security, she's basically not trying to help her constituency at all, because the Social Security Act should have been dissolved a long time ago. Especially if it's people coming over from other countries and they're benefiting from it. Because if it's a budget attached to it and it's other people using it to their benefit, it's not going to benefit the community at large at all. So now this is talking about the Holocaust. So it outlines here, lost 90% of its population. I'm not going to say that word. Greece, Yugoslavia, Hungary, Lithuania, Bohemia, the Netherlands, Slovakia, and Latvia. Each lost more than 70% of their population, and whereas millions more suffered grievous oppression and death under tyranny based on their religion, including priests, including pastors, including Jehovah's Witnesses, their national origin, including Poles, Soviets, Ukrainian Serbs, their ethnicity and culture, including the Romani people, their political beliefs, including courageous resistors and government dissenters, their physical appearance, including those with disabilities, their sexual orientation and gender identity, and so forth, so forth, so forth. So all of this is basically to highlight our history at a point where we were doing things in our understanding, controlling different populations, going here, going there. We had our hand in things back then, so I'm not going to go deep into that history because that may result in me being hit with a strike and the channel being taken down. If anybody knew about World War I, World War II, we were coming to the aid of our brothers and sisters who were being hit by an onslaught of other nations who were under protectorate of our cousins, who were trying to divvy up and get a piece of the pie in, again, other developing nations. So this resolution is for Michigan. Now, it's highlighted here, including distribution of anti-Semitic flyers in the Delta Township, threats against children and security personnel at Temple Beth El and Bloomfield Township, an attack against a student's dorm room, Missouri, at Michigan State University, distribution of anti-Semitic flyers in the campus of University of Michigan Ann Arbor, graffiti spray painted on a temple of Jacob and Marquette, and it goes on to talk about more anti-Semitic stuff going on at a temple in Grand Rapids. So Michigan is like has a large population of Europeans. So the way they operate is they do things and they get in the news, and the people who are anchoring the news are usually their uncles and aunties and stuff like that, and cousins. So they just get a slap on the wrist and basically they get swept under the rug. Now, again, back to Rashida Tlaib. This is the portion that she's supposed to be serving. Now, again, when you go through communities outside of Livonia, outside of Dearborn Heights, outside of Westland, outside of Dearborn, outside of Southfield, you will see that there's a lot of blight throughout these areas right here that's kind of being unsurfaced as far as the communities being named, because these are like little small townships, and they have Detroit right here. They just leaving all of this blank. So these parts right here, that's district, they're very underserved. Like all of the resources that, that's supposed to come to her administration, the only people that see it is right here, right here, right here, and right here. The people in these areas, they do not see it. Now, again, when you look at these people right here, these people, originally, these all were black people. All were black people. Now, I never understood why people got into tongue wars about what they should call themselves, and because I just think all right, all of these words that they're naming themselves have vowels in them, and they're just rearranged. Now, not one time do the person that's arguing with the other person do they mention what are the origin as far as hieroglyphic or Greek origin. Um, what are the birth of these letters? Because letters are words as well. So like they never talk about that. They just say you shouldn't call yourself this. You shouldn't call yourself this. You shouldn't call yourself this. Now I'm not defending people calling themselves black, but what I am saying is black has as much resonance as the word more. Because at one time there was a word as we knew it when you talk about the owl and officers um, being named um, blackamoors. And that goes far beyond courts, and that goes far beyond um, what you will find as being known in any of the uh, old um, processes as far as law books. Now, let's go to here. Now, this is a bulla from um, Pope Francis, right? And he's been in there a while prior to the last person who left. Um, and it's talking about pilgrimage, and this was done in 2015, right? So you would know the Ethiopian calendar is 2016 right now. Now let's just look at this here. It's talking about an extraordinary jubilee. So going forth from 2015, when this bulla was put in front of the ecclesiastical, um, it was expected that a lot of people would benefit from what was going on during that time. And so far, as you can see, everything has been quite slow. It's been required that people have more patience as far as what it is that they wanted to see accomplished through their organization and efforts. So that's where we're leaning at. And as you can see right here, it says, in this Jubilee year, may the church echo the word of God that resounds strong and the clearest message as the sign of pardon. So anything that happens in the House, that happens in the Senate, that happens with the Democrats, that happens with the Republicans, they're directly affected by this bulla. Like, we see what happens when a senator gets on the floor, a rep gets on the floor, and they give a drawn out speech, right? Now, this right here says a sign of pardon. So if you expect that Pope Francis is the top officer of their operations, and he's dealing with ecclesiastical matters, so he's dealing with the church, he's dealing with the chambers, and he's dealing with world matter. So he's above and over them. He tells them people what to do. So he's signing a pardon through a bulla, and he's talking about pilgrimage. Like, all of this stuff is happening right now, where you got migrants coming from south of Tijuana, ending up in Chicago, and you got people coming from across the waters, ending up on that border. And you look at these people, right? They look well groomed. So it isn't like they were hurting wherever they came from. It doesn't look like they were hurting for anything. So you have them arriving on the borders, and no one's saying anything about this right here, given in Rome at St. Peter's on the 11th of April, the visual of the second Sunday of Easter and the Sunday of the Divine Mercy in the year of our Lord 2015 and the third pontificate. So no one's talking about this. But when he did this, you can see now that it's starting to take effect. All right, like, you go up a bit and you read this, it's talking about pilgrimage. And so he's giving you Psalms. He's giving you verses out of the New Testament. All right. So all of this is happening right now. So you have people complaining about Rashida Tlaib having the Palestine flag outside her office. All right, and here it is right here. The practice of pilgrimage has a special place in the holy year. The holy year. So it's 2023. All right, 2023, that's the year of Jordan. All right, and so you see he's dealing with mercy. He's dealing with holiness. All right, he's dealing with, what does it say right here? Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running out, will you put into your lap. And that is true. So he's coming out of Luke, and he's saying that. And the only thing that I can say from here is when you see someone get elected and a lot of people are behind them and everybody is saying, we're going to vote for this person, we're going to bring this person in, vote Democrat, the Republicans, they had control of the House, they got control of the Senate. Whoever they dangle out in front of you, you need to check their voting record. Now, if you check Rashida Tlaib, she only has 2 bills she sponsored that's been passed. All right, so it's like, what are they doing in Congress that they can't get things passed that's going to directly help the people here? You don't even have to give people cash payments. All you have to do is defund the cops and make sure that they don't block the exodus or the passage of the people. All right? It can be simple as rescinding any act that's dealing with driver's licenses and driver's competency. If you can just roll those back, cash payments can wait. All right? If you can strengthen up job security for people who want to work on these plantations for whatever reason, if you can strengthen up job security, cash payments can wait. So if they're not sponsoring bills that can get stuff like that passed, then this resolution right here about the Holocaust is just pointless. Because if black people don't get their just due, then guess what? The people who are suffering around the world, they're not going to get their just dues either. And what we're seeing right now is that people don't want to give black people their just due. They don't want to give Americans their just due. They don't want to give Moors their just due. They don't want to give Catholics, Christians, Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't want to give these people their just due. And when I say Catholics, I'm talking about the original Catholics. I'm not talking about the people who just play the role and act like they really are that when they're not. So that's all I want to say. And that the next person that comes in and basically, step foot in the White House, I'm going to do a little research on them as well and see what they have done. I'm going to pay attention to their speech, and I'm going to make my concerns public because I'm not liking the direction that this country is going, and people, the stuff that adults are doing, like, they're very loose in what they're doing, and like we can't have that because if young people are seeing this, because I remember how it was when I was young. Like when I was in school, they put a ballot in front of us, and we had to vote between Al Gore and George Bush. And for some reason, I voted for George Bush, but I didn't know any better. Like I was very young, so it is what it is. And I would say I did vote for Barack Obama. I'm proud of that. Because he did sign off on the UNDRIP and he basically lent his support to it. Now, I can't say that for Rashida Tlaib. I can't say that for Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago, where I'm from. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. All I can say is that people really need to get deep into religious law and depend on faith, because the way this world is turning, I'm just not sure. Because you have adults who act like they're children, and when you entrust somebody to take care of your bookkeeping, you entrust somebody to take care of your constituency as far as their services and taking care of singers, and they're not doing it appropriately, that's a problem. So what we have is Rashida Tlaib. The only thing she got passed was for naming a building after Rosa Parks and something about a Social Security Act. Like, that's not good. So compliments are a concern. I feel bad for the people of Detroit, and it's unfortunate, but all I can say is that think forward. Make sure you have peace with the people around you. Make sure that you offer up peace. Make sure you say kind words, because you don't know what people are going through. And yeah, the world is in a quagmire right now. So on that note, I'll just say peace and stay diligent.